Hey photographer, Jessica Whitaker here. In this video, I am sharing some posing details that you need to watch out for so you can improve your portrait photography. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this free photography video. If you're a photographer looking to showcase your work, book more clients, and grow your business, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that you need. It's the easiest way to build a professional online presence and manage everything in one place, from portfolios to stores to blogging and even email marketing. As a photographer, having a polished professional website is everything. It's the first impression that potential clients get of your work. And so that's why I've been using Squarespace for the last 10 years to manage my online presence. One feature I love is their flexible website templates. They're specifically designed to showcase visual work like ours. You can start with a beautifully curated template and then customize it completely with colors, fonts, layouts, so it feels like your brand. And they've actually launched Blueprint AI, and I've created my own website for my branding program, lightscamerabrand.com, on it. And it totally rivals popular drag and drop website platforms with complete customization, but all the other features like Squarespace's analytics, e-commerce, email marketing, other platforms just can't compete with it. With Squarespace, blogging isn't just about posting your galleries, it's a powerful tool to boost your search rankings. Their built-in SEO features make optimizing your content so simple. You can add keywords, meta descriptions, and alt text for your photos in just a few clicks, which helps your site rank higher and get discovered by potential clients. I'm always talking about the importance of blogging your galleries over prioritizing social media, because my blog posts are what bring in the majority of my clients. And Squarespace makes it so simple to do so. So if you're ready to build a website that does it all, head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Jessica Whitaker to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Your photography deserves to be seen, so let Squarespace help you make it happen. My friend Mecca is here, and she's going to be the wonderful model. She's also a photographer. Her info is linked down below. We're going to begin. I'm going to ask my client, can you cross your arms across your chest for me? This is what your client most likely will naturally do, but this is not very flattering, because when you have your arms folded tight to your chest, you're pressing the skin of your arms forward. So it's a very tight and closed off pose. So what we're gonna do instead is make a couple minor tweaks that will totally change this to be nice and flattering while still the same pose. So Mecca, what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you roll your shoulders back for me, and I want you to take your elbows and I want you to swing them forward just a little bit, and then add a little bit of separation to your bicep area. Then what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you bring both your arms out. For me, I always like to have some beautiful shape with the hand. The hands are something that a lot of photographers overlook, but it can really level up your portraits and separate your work from others. So instead of having your hands straight like this, which is what your client will do, or maybe they're gonna have it kind of wrapped around where you see the front of their hand. So you're gonna bring your hand up, beautiful, and then I want you to splay out your fingers, and then I want you to give your hand a little bit of a rotation, whichever way feels the most natural. So do you see with this minor little tweak, we've created more of a shape versus this? Okay, so then with this hand, what I'm gonna have you do is you can go ahead and splay your fingers out a little bit, and then now we have a little bit more shape. I see this quite often. I see this a lot in bridal photos where the client has their arms straight to the side. There's no shape going on. So instead, what I'm gonna have you do is I want you to roll your shoulders back. I want you to take your hands and you're gonna kind of adjust. This is like flow posing. So it's not to overwhelm your client where we're gonna do one pose and then change it. We're making little changes as we go. So you're gonna roll your shoulders back for me, and I want you to put both hands on your hips, and I want you to take your hands and I want your fingertips towards the back for me. And you can put it up on your waist. Yes, this looks okay, but we can do one little change. I'm gonna have you rotate your back shoulder towards me ever so slightly. Beautiful. Or maybe it's gonna be the other way, depending on what side someone prefers. So you can still have your hands like this, but it's gonna give a little bit of turn. You're gonna turn with that hip as well. Because if we just go like this, it's gonna be unnatural. But there are clients where you really need to guide them through every step so you get the best shot. You can't assume, even if I said this, you have to be overly clear. turn that shoulder with your hip so that they move all the way to the side. And then with this, guess what? I'm gonna have you, Mecca, pop up on that foot, and it's gonna raise the hip up nicely. And so with this, you can start creating beautiful shape. You can have that hip raised up, you could even swing it, you could bring the shoulder back if you want. See, these little details make a big difference, and then your client can move into different poses. When it comes to the woman's body, the wrists, the hands, the waist, the small of the back if you're shooting from the back or something, the collarbone, the shoulders, these are all very delicate features that you can highlight. I want you to turn to the side for me and put your hands by your side. This is something a lot with bridal photos that I see. Let's pretend, Mecca, that my camera is a bouquet. Hold it out your side like a bouquet, straight down. Yep, nice and flattering. I'm still using the Mark IV. It's okay if I adjust your hair. Turn towards the side and hold your bouquet at your side. But this is giving absolutely nothing. It's a straight line. It's also, guess what? It's cutting into the waist. We don't see the waist here. So what we're gonna do is instead, I'm going to have you add a bend to the elbow, okay? And then you might even need to bring the hand up. It's gonna all depend, but look at that simple change, but you wanna take it one step further. I always like to tell my subjects, I always call it the back shoulder, whichever one is like the furthest from me, because when it comes to the photos left and right, I don't know the geometry of it. You know, it's like the backwards way for whatever. So I'm gonna say, Mecca, with your back shoulder, turn it towards me ever so slightly. Okay, a little bit this way. There we go. So now we have, and add a little bend to your elbow again for me. Okay, so now we have a more shape because now we have shoulders here, do. Very technical term. Do you see how this looks much better than mine going back into the original pose, straight down? A big insecurity for a lot of women are the arms. This is something that you can ask in your client questionnaire, but if you don't know to modify the poses this way, it's something that could get overlooked and your client is not gonna frame this photo of them on the wall. So instead, and this is where also the skin, a lot of the times, especially if you press, some people have their arm pressed to their body, the skin is all gonna, come forward. Yeah, so when we add that bend to our elbow, and then sometimes with your clients, like even, we can't do this right now with the camera, but with the wrist, you wanna also continue that line, so you don't want the wrist to just be hanging out here. You're gonna have to do a little bit of an adjustment depending on the bouquet. For our next pose, this column is our makeshift table, okay? You might tell your client to put both hands up on their face, by their face. And what this does is it's pushing up all of the skin. So we're creating a different face shape almost, right? But then also, sometimes it obstructs the features. Sometimes it's like it's in the way of the cheekbone. Sometimes even a finger could be in the way of the lip. We don't want to obstruct the lips, the cheekbones, the jawline too much. And the other thing is we want to focus on, we want to adjust the hands, because when your hands are up, balled up like this, like a fist, it comes off very masculine, and we want to soften it. So what I'm gonna have my client do is I'm gonna say, Mecca, do you mind taking your hand, and I want you to splay it out like a Barbie doll, and I want you to take it and roll it back almost to where your index finger is touching where your jaw and your ear meet. And that's a good starting point. And then you're gonna adjust it from there. Now we see the manicure, we see the wrist. Remember how earlier I mentioned the wrist is something you wanna highlight? So this looks amazing. So I'm gonna take a look at this, and I might even say to my client, I want you to bring this shoulder up a little bit more, or bring it down. It's going to depend, but really tell your client to give their shoulders a lot of mobility, because this can also be leverage for the other hand, but this already looks so much better, right? Now her arms are not so close and at her side pressed together. It's more of an open pose, and it looks great. And this is where the face card comes in. So if you want to portray serious vibes, you can have your client do a serious expression. If you want to do nice and soft, if you want to do smiling, this is really where the emotion is going to come in. Now we're gonna move into a sitting pose, and I do this with all of my clients. It's my signature. I've done this for years. The first thing is I want you to move your booty halfway off of the chair. This is especially important if it's a very squishy couch, because you need to scoot forward to be able to elongate the legs, but also to keep that good posture. So what you can tell your client for a lot of posing situations is to engage the core. This will make a big difference in how they feel and being able to hold the pose, but also with their posture in the pose. There's a lot of things that are going to go on, so the core is important in this pose. So I'm going to have you cross your legs for me. This is a natural position to go into, but there's some things we can adjust to improve it. So the first thing is, Mecca, I want you to raise up your thigh. This is where the core is going to be important. This is going to act as a string, and it helps elongate the rest of the leg. And this is especially beautiful if you're doing bridal photos and they're in their little robe. I had her put her foot back up because a lot of people are gonna have their foot up, or it's gonna be at an angle where we're seeing the bottom of the shoe, but this does not elongate anything. We wanna continue this line, this cuts it off. So Mecca, you're gonna point your toe. Beautiful. Now, this is the key. This is the thing to switch. With the other foot, you're going to have your client slightly adjust their foot diagonal, exactly. And then I'm gonna evaluate, and it's gonna be adjusted every image, right? So I'm gonna look at this and I'm gonna say, Mecca, bring that foot this way a little bit more. Beautiful, beautiful. And then I'm gonna look, and I want you to now point that toe, that foot forward as well. With this small adjustment, it makes a huge difference. If you're a photographer looking to join a kind, encouraging, and inclusive photography community, check out my free Facebook group called Build and Bloom. This is the best place to ask questions about your specific photography business. Whether you're having a difficult client situation and you want help with your email response, or you just want an extra set of eyes on your website before you click publish, Build and Bloom is my best free resource. You can find it on Facebook groups, and you can also listen and learn to the Build and Bloom photography podcast wherever you get your podcast. I believe in you, and I believe in your business. Be sure to hit subscribe so you're the first to know when new free videos for your business come out. And I will see you in my next video. Click right here to watch and to learn. I'll see you there.